what the script will be working from. The questions are exactly the questions from the survey, so shouldn't be any surprises there. We've got our camera and our timer. Taylor will be providing timers as we count down, and we'll go from there. So thank you guys. We'll go ahead and kick this off. Hello everyone, my name is Stephanie Meyer, the CEO of the Leawood Chamber, and it is my honor, of course, to host today's candidate forum for the Blue Valley School District, School Board District 1, with candidates Christine Vasquez and Jan Kessinger. The Johnson County Public Policy Council is comprised of 10 chambers of commerce serving Johnson County, and they developed today's questions focused on education and community issues. So we will start with a brief 3-minute opening statement from each of you, followed by our question and answers, where each candidate will have 1.5 minutes to answer the question, and then we'll end with 2-minute closing statements. So to kick things off, I'm going to ask each candidate to introduce themselves and give a brief background, organizations you've been involved with, and why you feel qualified to serve on the Blue Valley School Board. So we'll start with Christine.
Okay. Well, good morning, Christine Vasquez. So I'm a wife for 21 years now and a mom of 5. I have a son who graduated from Blue Valley in 22, and I have a high school senior this year, an 8th grader, a 5th grader, and a kindergartner. So I will be in high school until 2036. I'm also a business owner, so I have a design and renovation company that I own here in Kansas and run. And my background actually originally was as a college admissions rep. I've also worked in private school. I homeschooled my kiddos for a while. So I've had a passion for education for a really long time, and a very involved parent here in Kansas. I'm a patron of a local adoption agency. I do foster care support and wraparound care. For Blue Valley, I've been involved in one of the larger booster clubs there. For 2 years, I was co-president. So just really interested and active in being involved in my kiddos' lives, and moving to this community for the great community and the great schools, just wanting for the time that I've been here to be a great contributor to that. And so when the opportunity came up for running for school board and having a kiddo that is a kindergartner and will be here for so long, just really wanted to add my name in the hat and bring a new perspective and a fresh perspective with having kids in the district and at all levels, and wanting to contribute in any way I can to making sure that the Blue Valley schools and the educations are everything that we moved here for.
Great, thank you. Jan.
Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you for the Chambers of Commerce for sponsoring this forum. I and my wife have lived in Blue Valley for 39 years. When we moved from California, we chose Blue Valley because of the schools. We have 3 daughters and 6 grandchildren. I'm a former state representative, and one of the big accomplishments I had as a state representative was pushing full funding for public schools. It's the first time in 19 years that we had fully funded schools, and it's something I'm very, very proud of. I am a congregational care minister at Church of the Resurrection, and also on the board of trustees. I'm on the board of Kansas Action for Children, and I was appointed by both Republican and Democratic governors to different boards across the state. I had my own consulting, management and sales consulting company for 20 years, worked with Fortune 500 companies as well as mom and pop operations here in the community. And prior to that, I had 18 years in the business publishing field. I've got an MBA and a Bachelor's of Science in Journalism, and I serve not just for my kids, but for all the kids in the district, and that's why I chose to run.
Great, thank you. Okay, so thank you both for giving us the background on why you're running. We'll now move into our question and answers, where as a reminder, you'll have 1.5 minutes, and Taylor will be timing to respond. So question 1, as a candidate, what are your top 3 education policy issues? And we'll start with Jan.
Well, top one, of course, is academics. We want to be able to provide and nurture a learning environment so that our children can excel academically. We want to be able to attract and retain the very best teachers, and that's a great challenge for us also. So academics is going to be number 1, both on the student level and the teacher level. We want to be able to have broad educational experiences beyond academics with the arts, where as an expression of being able to take those talents and grow them. I've got, I know 4 kids who went through Blue Valley and ended up on Broadway, including playing in Phantom of the Opera, playing Raoul. Athletics and other activities are critical also to teach teamwork and to grow that and to have other outlets. It's being able to prepare for the future, and I'm going to take 4 because safety and mental health is also critical, and we need to adjust to that when you're dealing with the academics, the arts, the athletics, and the activities.
All right, thank you. Christy?
Yeah, so my top priorities would be academic rigor. We unfortunately are not doing well enough. We are looking at graduating kids with less than 50% at grade level preparedness for college, so in reading and math. My actual personal experience with my second one, so he's in 5th grade, my second lowest guy, he was one of the ones who was affected when phonics was taken out of school. He's now in 5th grade, and because of some of those changes, he's experiencing, having to be pulled with about half of his class for additional help. So it's really important to me that we're focusing on rigor in academics. It's important to me that we're understanding that Blue Valley is ranked #1, but if there's a portion, and if it's half or more of the kids who are not receiving everything that they need, then I want to take a look at how can we better adjust for some of those things and to make up that gap. Because as a business owner, 50% customer satisfaction rate is definitely not one that's going to keep me in business for long. So I want to make sure that our kids are getting that. Teacher pay, definitely, it was a shock to me actually when first running that as a school district, our teachers are not higher paid than some of the other local school districts, because Blue Valley is such a generous community and we are so well funded. It was definitely a shock to hear some of my friends share that with me. So teacher pay and retention is great priority, and then classroom safety and a good environment that partners teachers and parents together to make sure that we're getting the 2 best advocates everything that they need to see our kids succeed.
Great, thank you. Okay, next question, big one for a minute and a half there. What are your thoughts on K-12 education funding? We'll start with you, Christine.
Yeah, so I would say, the way that it's broken out, that Blue Valley residents actually paying more to the state than we get back for funding. It's a huge priority for me to be responsible with what we're given, to make sure that we're allocating funds to their best uses, to make sure that the classroom is seeing what it needs, and to just make sure overall, as I do with my business, that I'm evaluating what's going out, what's coming in, and making sure that our resources are properly spent.
Thank you. Jan?
Well, as Christine said, the state is the one who funds most of us. It's when we take a look, then that's what the question is on K-12 funding. After 20 years of failing to constitutionally fund the schools, we were able to, as I mentioned in my intro, fully fund the schools. We fall short on special ed funding. It cost our school district an extra $12 million to be able to take care of our special ed funding that is not paid by the feds and the state, who are not paying that for us. We talk about teacher pay. We have, in a competitive environment, we recently in the school board, we raised school pay. We recognize that we need to pay Blue Valley school teachers more in relationship to the other districts, and we're doing that. We're in the process of doing that. And talk about school funding for the other areas. I believe in a strong Kansas overall, and that's Johnson County delivers 1/3 of all tax revenue to the state, and we do that. And I wish that the legislature would recognize that and be a little kinder to Johnson County.
Perfect, thank you. Okay. The K-12 education system requires accountability measures for student performance focused on post-secondary success and career readiness. Do you believe the district is meeting expectations for student achievement? And this time we'll start with Jan.
Well, on October 10th, the Kansas Department of Education reported that we have shown continued improvement in the areas, which is great because we had been on downward slide. We talk about preparation. Some will say, well, we only score 1 or 2 and we're failing our students. We are not failing our students. 1 is where a student has limited skills in that, but 2, 3, and 4 are basic, effective, and excellent. So we are the top district in the state of Kansas. We're in the top 1% in the nation. We have the best teachers in Kansas. We have the best, one of the 5 best, we're one of the 5 best employers or places to work in the state of Kansas. And we've got 81% post-secondary success. That's pretty good. I don't think we're failing our students at all. And I mean, just take a look at the National Merit Scholars. We had 56 National Merit Scholars, and that is 39% of the entire state. We are excelling, and we are taking care of our students from the very top to the one who needs the most.
Thank you. Christine?
Yeah, so again, like I stated earlier, we moved here for the Blue Valley schools and the reputation, and we have found the community and the schools by and large to be amazing, and that is, why we pulled our kids out of private schools. But to my earlier point, we are not doing nearly well enough. My son would be a younger representation that I mentioned earlier with his meeting grade level, but what we want to do as a school district would be continue to make sure that we're evaluating and servicing our families and our kids where they're needed. So as a business owner, if there's any gaps and I'm not fulfilling things, it's just wisdom for me to look at what I'm doing successfully and say, amazing, do I need to add additional things or continue to fund things there, and what am I not doing well, or what do I improve on? And so even though in Kansas, Blue Valley schools are rated number 1, our stats are still showing us that there are kids that are not getting everything that they need to be prepared. A study recently came out that college, there's a huge report of kids having to take remedial college algebra just to be ready to take the first college algebra. So I have a personal family member who in the last 2 years had to pay $1,200 for his college algebra in college because he didn't fully have the competency to take the college level class, even though he passed it in his high school class here in Blue Valley. So I want us to do better, and I think that's great, and that's towards success, that we always look for how we can improve, and we look at what we're doing well, and we evaluate both accordingly.
Thank you. Okay, Kansas is experiencing low unemployment rates, and employers are struggling to find qualified workers, something we talk about at the Chamber a lot.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see the school district helping to meet the business community's future workforce needs through work-based learning opportunities like internships, training, and other career exploration opportunities? Christine, would you start us off?
Yeah, so we definitely have a great example, or maybe even I would call it like a pilot program, even though it's been long and successful, is in the CAPS program. I would love to see something like that expanded, even maybe more into realms where I'm a business owner and I deal with lots of subcontractors and trades like electricians and plumbers and machinists, which is actually a 6-figure job and it's hard to find them. I would love to see the invitation to the business owners in the chamber, what areas are they needing and looking for? Where would they like to partner with us? Can we expand something like CAPS? I'd love to see, I talked with my son's business teacher 2 years ago, I'd love to see continued partnership and inviting some of these business leaders into our business classes. They have to do mock interviews and mock question and answer with business owners and leaders, and it's normally someone but I'd love to see maybe can we expand that and get the kids engaged, and maybe the business owners can share a little bit about their job and share about their experience. And we would love to get them in the schools in partnership to see what their ideas are, what their needs are as a small business owner. I definitely am always looking for good employees, so it's one that resonates really well with me.
Thank you. Jan?
Thank you. We do many of the things that were just outlined. We have 11 different avenues you can follow, and 2/3 of our graduates graduate with market value assets where they can go out and get a job right then. We've got a fire science program that is outstanding. They graduate and come out and become fire people, fire protection. And we have many of those, and the CAPS program, the Center for Advanced Professional Studies, is outstanding. It's an amazing program that started in Blue Valley and has expanded throughout the country and also in 4 nations around the world. It's a remarkable program. I will also tell you that when I worked at the State Department of Commerce, and we would recruit companies, and of course they want to know, well, do you have somebody who do you have employees, and what about my current employees? If we move the company to your area, will they want to move there? And the question is, and what the qualifier was, what are the schools like? It wasn't what sort of a tax break can you give me, or well, what about land? It was, what are the schools like? You find it with the Panasonic out in DeSoto. Many Panasonic executives are living in the Blue Valley School District, and that's because they want them to come here. That brings more employees and more, and it reduces the unemployment rate. It makes it a lot easier for businesses to recruit.
Okay. What are your thoughts on efforts in the state legislature to expand school choice? And we'll start with Jan.
Well, to expand full choice is an interesting battle, because we struggle to fully fund public education. And when you start funding school choice and giving out vouchers, that's opening up an entire Pandora's box, and it's taking money away from public education. When I say it's opening up a Pandora's box, let's say that there is an outstanding school with religious affiliation, and I want to send my child there, and I get a voucher for it. Well, I may have somebody else, a friend, who is Wiccan and opens up a Wiccan school and wants to send their child to that school. Well, you know what? They're going to have to get vouchers for that too. Do you really want your money to be going in that direction? It's just a real mess if you get into that. Let's fully fund public schools and make them everything that we desire it to be. And you do have school choice. We're just not going to fund it with public dollars.
Thank you. Christine.
So I would say that, on the Board of Education level, obviously we don't have anything to do with school choice and making that determination. But school choice is definitely one that I think a lot of Blue Valley citizens, have as a default. Like I said, I pulled my kids out of private school and we moved into the Blue Valley School District. So I think that by and large, most of our community is blessed to already technically have school choice, and they send their kids where they want to go, which is why my priority would be making sure that our schools are everything that they can be, because our enrollments, even though our population is increasing by 10% in the last, I think it's been about 7 years, we were very stagnant in our enrollment in Blue Valley schools, but we've just creeped up to only 4%. So we're seeing a difference, and we're seeing that our community that's living here is choosing to not send our kids to the public schools. And so as a board member, since that's our purview, that would be my real hope, is to make the schools amazing here, keep our population who is here wanting to come to the Blue Valley schools. And even if there was school choice instituted, if our schools are full with our residents who live here, then there's just a cap on enrollment, and there's there's something that kind of affects that automatically.
Okay, thank you. Other than funding, what do you see as the greatest challenge facing the district currently? We'll start with Christine.
Yeah, I would say, so again, I've said it about 5 times. So the academic rigor is a high priority, but I would say that my concern right now with having friends who are teachers and knocking on doors, as we've been running this campaign and talking to constituents, is our teachers, as wanting to make sure that we're retaining our teachers. In 22, when my oldest son graduated, we had the largest number of teachers retire, and it had been the largest in like 5 years. Of course, there were some additional factors to that, but we're seeing even problems staffing. So wanting to make sure that our classroom behavior and the support that our teachers are getting are really making the environment a continued one that they want to come back to. I have a good friend whose daughter graduated last year from KU, and she had a little group of friends. Out of 7 of them, 3 graduated with teaching degrees, and not a single one of them went into the field. that's a problem. Of course, it's nationwide, but that's a problem. It's high on our priority list because Blue Valley is such a great community. We do have so much going for us. We want to make sure that we're keeping these amazing teachers we have. I had a teacher when we first moved here who was my son's third grade teacher, and she had retired and then decided to come back and help. And she had actually been teaching long enough that she had taught one of the other teachers who was a first grade teacher. Like those are the values and the gems we have, and I want to make sure that we don't lose them and that we're fostering that into our future children, because it is such a genuine high calling. My mother-in-law was a teacher for 30 years, so we value it and we don't want to lose that for sure.
Thank you. Jan?
I agree. Our number one priority has to be to attract and retain teachers. And that's a challenge when the pipeline is dry. That is, you take a look at education schools in the state of Kansas, and the number of education majors is almost non-existent. It's very tough. Why do people want to get into teaching? And you might say, well, it's the money. No, it's not always the money. Sometimes it's outside influences that say, why would I want to be a teacher and put up with all that, constantly attacking the job that I am doing? When my children when I talk about students, my students are excelling, and I'm being told that we're not. Yes, we are. You need to be able to have a reward of appreciation to the teachers. My middle daughter is a teacher, and when she graduated college, she had 2 job offers, and one was to a major consulting company for $10,000 a year more. I was so thrilled that she chose to go to work at Blue Valley Schools, and she has been there and she loves it, and the reward she gets is from her children, the students. I feel possessive about all the students, treat them as my children. I also want to point out that good education isn't going to do anything if you can't get the kids to student, and we have a real shortage of bus drivers. It's a major hassle for people who live less than 2.5 miles away from their school to get their children to school. You used to be able to pay for bus service, and now we can't do it. We just can't get bus drivers. We only have 5% of them live in our district.
Thank you. So, why are you seeking this public office, Jan?
Well, I sort of stumbled over that when I talked about my children. You know what? I had 3 children go through the Blue Valley School District, as did all my sons-in-law, and I had 6 grandchildren. 2 of them matriculated through Blue Valley schools. But I love this community, and I love this quality of life. We moved here 39 years ago. We chose to live here because of the schools. We chose to stay here because of the quality of life. What's the number one value, asset of Blue Valley community? Schools. We continue to invest in that. We continue to help it thrive. We continue to push for improvements in it, and that's why I run. I run for a bright future for all the children in the community. We have 22,300 students. I'm here for them, and I'm here for their children. I'm not basing it on the fact that I've got a grandson who's going to graduate in Blue Valley Northwest in a year. I do it because I believe in the future. I'll be long gone when many of the kids or their kids are in the schools, but I believe it. I want a legacy left behind of high education and quality of life, and I want my grandchildren to move back here.
Okay, Christine?
Yeah, so as I stated earlier, I moved here. My husband and I chose to move our 5 kiddos into the district out of public school for the Blue Valley schools. So it's the meat of why we were here. It's the meat of why we brought our family here, and wanting to make sure that my kiddos, all the way down to the one who graduates in 2036, are represented and have someone with a pulse on the district. So I feel like we're in new times. Never have we seen, COVID triggered some of that, but never have we seen days like we're living in now with devices and social media and just all these things that are going on in our community. And I feel blessed to be able to represent my kiddos, but just every level of education. When the elections came up, I had 4 friends from 4 different avenues approach me and ask me if I would consider running because of my longstanding contribution to just any environment I'm in. My mama taught me if there's a need and you can meet it, then you probably should. And so that's really why I'm seeking office, because I care about my kids, I care for why we moved here, and I care that everyone who's in the school district is represented, and that we're making sure that we're headed with eyes towards the future and understanding what are our problems, understanding what are our achievements, and we're not brushing either of those to the side, but we're looking to carry our kids into the next 20, 30 years for sure.
Thank you. Okay, final question. What makes you uniquely qualified to serve on the board and most distinguishes you from your opponent in this race? And we'll start with you, Christine.
So uniquely qualified, I would say starting my career in education, I've kind of seen it from all aspects, as I said, starting with college admissions. So seeing someone coming straight from high school, being able to partner with them, counsel them for what major they were choosing, helping them in their highs and lows of successes, of grades and struggles and even finances and issues like that, to then being a part-time teacher at private school, to also homeschooling. Education has definitely been a passion of mine, and I feel like I've seen it through a lot of avenues, to now be a mom of 5 who has everything from a graduate who graduated from Blue Valley, who is out there in the world, all the way down to a kindergartner. I feel like it gives me a unique perspective, as well, even as a business owner, just experiencing when I'm looking to partner with employees and subcontractors, wanting to get them connected to being here in Kansas. I think I also bring that perspective that's unique. And so I'm seeking the office and uniquely qualified because I'm invested in so many areas, and I'm in it for the long haul, and I see the policies and how they've been affecting kids, and I'll see firsthand how any policy will affect them in the future.
All right, thank you. Jan?
Thank you. I've outlined many of the differences. I have great experience among the serving in the legislature. I've been intimately involved in the community for 39 years that I've lived here. Working with the Commerce Department, I understand the overall value of education to the state, and from a personal standpoint, my involvement both in the church and also the other communities we have, my business experience, government experience, and I'm committed to serving everybody. And we talk about, well, in it for the long haul. I'm in it for the long haul too. And the long haul isn't me in my lifetime or my kids. The long haul is in our children who are now in school, and their children and their children. We have to have a vision, and let's work toward it. Another big difference between myself and my opponent, I'm endorsed by the past 4 superintendents going back to 1993, past 4 superintendents of Blue Valley. My opponent is backed by the 1776 project, Nancy Marks, treasurer. Nancy Marks, by the way, when I received this mailer on October 5th, that's the same day that the treasurer for this organization pled guilty to felony fraud in New York as George Santos treasurer. So there's a difference. Judge us by who supports us.
Okay, the candidates will now have 2 minutes for a closing statement. Christine, you kicked us off in the opening, so we'll let Jan start with closing.
Okay. Well, education is the most important thing in our community. It's the greatest asset. It helps what we want to be able to protect home values and continue to do what we do well. We can improve. We will improve. I am devoted to public service. My record shows that. I in the legislature pushed for public funding, fully funding the public schools, and I ran to protect our schools, and we're continuing to do that and protect our property values. And I just want to be able to run so that future generations experience the same quality of education and opportunities that my children had, my grandchildren have, and like I said, for generations to come.
Thank you. Christine?
Yeah, thank you. So actually, to one of Jan's points, so as a parent involved in the schools and with kids in the schools, I just am thankful for the opportunity to speak to the chamber. I encourage you to vote and get out there. This is, you've heard both of us say, this is the attractor to our community. And as I stated earlier, with the stats for population increase versus enrollment increase, we can see that there's a need for improvement and a need of focus. And I am not a politician, but I'm a very active and concerned parent. To Jan's point about 1776 PAC, who endorses me? I have no connection with them. Who I know endorses me are my children, my community, the people who are walking doors with me, the people who are spreading the word. And so I would just ask and encourage you to look into voting, make it your priority. Education in the Blue Valley school systems has been remarkable, but we have slipped and we're not doing well enough. And it's okay to say that, because when we say that, then we can evaluate and we can move forward. And I'm prepared to ask hard questions of myself, and I'm prepared to probably take some blows, but that's okay, because it's for our kids, it's for the 22,000 kids, it's for my kids, it's for my teacher friends. And so I would just encourage you to get out there and vote, and continue to keep our Blue Valley schools moving in the right direction by electing new voices for the new times.
All right, thank you. So this officially concludes our candidate forum for the Blue Valley School Board District 1. Thank you both for participating in today's program, much appreciated. So for more information about the candidates, videos of this and other races all across the county, as well as all kinds of other good stuff about advanced voting, to your point, visit votejoco.com, and please do share these resources with everyone you know. We appreciate it. Again, we want more folks to vote. So on behalf of the Leawood Chamber of Commerce, thank you again, and thank you to everyone here who attended and everyone who is watching this video online to learn more about the candidates, and best of luck in both of your campaigns. Thank you guys.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.